If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community.
So by now we know that Lil Uzi Vert is not 100% happy with his 2020 album Eternal Atake. This thing had a huge buzz surrounding it, so much anticipation and hype for it that it was kind of clear that we were going to get disappointed. And me, myself included, I wasn't too much of a fan when it dropped. It kind of didn't start growing on me. A lot of people said that this was like this big thing that is going to change music forever because that's just what the anticipation for it was. And they kind of had that image in their head that it was really going to turn out this way. And they always tried to convince themselves that it's actually better than it truly was. And I just never could, warm up to it as much as other people. I, of course, I like when people enjoy the music, but to me, it just really didn't live up to what Uzi had promised and what Uzi had been, kind of pushing and announcing for such a long time. And in the past, he's already spoken out on this and said that, there was a lot of pressure on him. There was a lot of expectations that he was just, under a lot of pressure to meet. And that's why maybe it didn't turn out as he wanted it. And he actually spoke on this a little bit more in this new interview that he did for W Magazine. He also talked about his new album that's supposed to come out, sometime in the future. And I kind of wanted to go through it because there's a lot of interesting information on this that I think, y'all would like. So, Uzi was asked, your last album, Eternal Atake, is still charting 1 year after its release, but you've said that you weren't happy with the way that it turned out. His reply was, all of my music for Eternal Atake got leaked, so I had to redo it. This is something that we didn't know before, but kind of assumed, but it's, kind of interesting to see him say this directly here. Anyway, let's keep moving. It didn't reach its full potential. I just knew it wasn't the sound I was going for. Let's just say Eternal Atake from another artist would have been really good because it was super dumbed down to where everyone could enjoy it, but that's not my artistry. I want my music to be more intimate to my real fans. I wanted it to be almost cult-like. I love that he says this. This is something that I keep saying and keep preaching in a lot of my videos, that when artists kind of reflect on their artistry and kind of take a step back and approach it more in an artistic, creative way. And I love that Uzi takes this approach and says that he wanted it to be not, for the masses, but rather for his core fans. But in turn, that will develop into a sound that maybe the masses will one day like. Anyway, let's keep going and we'll talk about it after we're done going through it. You're known for spending hours in the studio, editing your songs over and over. Are you still working that way? And Uzi said, no, I'm just leaving songs how they are instead of trying to make the perfect song. I was following the other guys too much. Whom were you following? I was listening to all the industry guys and their formats. It was confusing me because these guys are getting number ones. But I realized the music ain't even living. Their number ones are real quick. I had to realize this is their beginning. They're younger than me, so they have room to do that. I don't have room to do that. I used to always look at all the young guys and be like, oh, shout out this guy. I ain't shouting out nobody no more. Then there's one more question about his next album, and that was, has being with your girlfriend JT inspired you while writing your next album? And he says, she keeps me calm and balances me. Album-wise, she keeps me not saying too much. So that's kind of all the information that we get about the new album from this one, but there's a lot of other stuff in here that I find really interesting. One thing, of course, being that he doesn't try to perfect songs anymore, but rather just leaves them how they are. And I know we've had this discussion in the Discord a lot too, which, by the way, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, link is in the description. Go join our community and just be part of it. It's really amazing. We talked about creating vibes and how that is a part of an artistry as much as writing lyrics and poetry. And for Uzi to say this and being like, oh, I don't try to perfect songs anymore, but I rather just want to capture a certain sound, a certain vibe of feeling, I think is very important because that's something that he's, been very famous for and has gotten a lot of success through. So maybe that's, a step in the right direction as to his next album. Because as he said, what I found really interesting about him saying that, Eternal Atake got leaked leaked and that he had to redo all the songs, he was probably in the studio trying to make every song perfect. And that is maybe why Eternal Atake didn't turn out as he had wanted it to, which I think would be kind of the reason why he's so unsatisfied with it. Now, another thing that I found interesting is that he talked about the young generation of rappers, how he's, kind of felt salty in a way, like, oh, they're getting number ones and I'm here trying to make this perfect album, but still not, getting the kind of the recognition that I want or the fulfillment from the music that I want from creating this. And he kind of realizes that those are like the young guys. That was him at one point. That was him, popping off with EXO Tour Life, with Money Longer, whatever. And that he's just not in a position anymore that he can experiment around this much and just, try everything to blow up, because his artistry is advanced to another level. I love that he talks about his artistry and not just his music. That shows a very kind of reflective approach to it, that shows that he cares about what he's doing. And I like that. I like when artists do this, when they question if the music they're making is really for their fans, is really what they want to do with their craft, and not just chasing hits. Because obviously in this answer, you can see that Uzi, at some point, of course, he was trying to make some hits, and he made some hits. But of course, that doesn't last forever. And after you have a big hit, it's important to keep growing your fan base. And with that newfound foundation that you got through that hit, to spread a message, to do whatever you want with it. In the best case, enhance people's lives and impact them positively, which I hope he does now that he realized that. He said the new album, JT keeps him not saying too much, which I found kind of funny. So I don't think we're getting any leaks or any new information for it anytime soon, especially with the leaks. He's had some bad experiences with that through Eternal Atake, so I don't think, we'll be too heavy on those coming up for his next album. But of course, I'm interested in seeing what he does with this newfound realization and this reflection of his own music and craft. And I think that, we're going to get something really interesting out of this, and I'm all here for it. I'm excited for some new Uzi, Eternal Atake wasn't really my cup of tea, but I feel like if he really, doesn't try to chase a hit just as he explained, but rather focuses on his cult-like, which I found a funny term to use because Eternal Atake, that cover and all that, was inspired by a cult. But anyways, you probably know the whole backstory about this. But yeah, to be really for his core fans, I feel like that could really, have a great outcome, in terms of actual greatness, of influence, of impact in the culture. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about this. Now I want to know what you think about this. Did you read that interview? How do you think Uzi is gonna, kind of take a new turn in music and develop his new album? And what do you think about Eternal Atake? Does it still sound good for you even now after a year after it dropped? So yeah, I really want to know. Let me know in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.